You are currently hunting a ghost inside your own skull. Look closely at your mind right now. You hear a voice reading these exact words. You assume that voice is you. But if you are the one listening to the voice, then who is the one doing the talking? You spend your entire life trying to fix your anxiety, trying to upgrade your focus, and trying to code the perfect routine. Yet you are completely exhausted. You are running on empty. You feel like a malfunctioning biomachine trapped in an endless loop of dopamine crashes and existential dread. Here is the glitch in your operating system. The detective looking for the criminal is actually the one who committed the crime. Your precious sense of self is not a holy soul. It is a piece of evolutionary spyware. And today we are going to crash the system to finally delete the malware. I used to think I could outsmart my own brain. A few years ago, I locked myself in a room, determined to hack my consciousness. I downloaded every single mindfulness app, tracked my sleep cycles, and spent thousands of dollars on biohacking tech. I thought if I just meditated hard enough, I would finally find the master operator inside my head. The one who is calm, successful, and perfectly in control. But the harder I looked, the more the system glitched. I would sit down to breathe, and within 3 seconds, my mind was screaming about unfinished emails, Netflix subplots, and random failures from 10 years ago. It felt like walking into a theater only to realize the movie projector was running completely empty. Yet the screen kept flashing terrifying images. That is when it hit me. We are all deeply addicted to a cosmic illusion. In America, we are trained from birth to build a personal brand, to optimize our identity, and to find ourselves. We treat our minds like a luxury Tesla that just needs a software update. But look at the data. We have more self-care tools than any civilization in human history, yet anti-anxiety prescriptions are hitting record highs every single year. We are trying to clean a dirty window by wiping it with a muddy cloth. I realized my anxiety was not a temporary bug in the system. The ego itself is the malware. It forces you to constantly refresh the feed of your own identity, desperately looking for a self that was never programmed into the source code to begin with. I spent years treated my life like a tech startup. I optimized my morning routine, tracking every minute of productivity. I thought I was building a bulletproof empire for my ego. But the truth is, the American dream has a hidden backdoor. We are conditioned to treat our consciousness like a curated social media feed. We constantly edit, filter, and upload a version of ourselves that does not exist. This leads to a massive systemic error in our daily cognitive processing. The algorithm of cravings demands constant updates, trapping us in a never-ending cycle of chasing the next hit of validation. The system creates a false duality, forcing us to constantly defend an identity that is nothing more than a ghost in the machine. The background apps of societal expectations drain our mental battery, leaving us completely exhausted by the end of the day. We are terrified of emptiness. We treat silence like a system failure, rushing to open Netflix or TikTok to fill the void. I remember staring at my phone at 3 in the morning, watching the blue light wash over the walls of my room. I realized that my loneliness was not an accident. The software is working exactly as designed. It isolates you, tells you that you are a separate entity fighting against the universe, and then sells you the cure. We are running a piece of ancient evolutionary spyware on modern hardware, and it is burning out our circuits. You cannot defeat a ghost in a fistfight. This is the exact trap that almost destroyed Siddhartha Gautama long before he ever became the Buddha. Forget the flawless golden statues you see in expensive wellness gift shops. Before his breakthrough, he was a desperate, sweating, sleep-deprived human being locked in a brutal psychological war. He sat under that tree, completely exhausted, facing the ultimate system virus called Mara. Mara is not a red demon with horns. Mara is the personification of your own ego. It is the primitive survival code that screams at you to run away, to panic, and to protect your identity at all costs. Siddhartha tried everything. He starved himself until his ribs pressed against his skin. He suppressed his desires with pure, aggressive willpower. He treated his mind like a war zone, trying to execute every negative thought. But the system kept lagging. The harder he fought the darkness, the more powerful the shadow became. It is the same glitch you experience every time you try to force yourself to be happy. You are using the ego to destroy the ego. It is like trying to use fire to extinguish fire. Siddhartha was trapped in a lethal feedback loop, suffocating under the weight of his own efforts. He realized that the voice telling him to defeat the demon was actually the demon in disguise. The software was simulating a war to keep him from looking at the source code. He had to completely change the rules of the entire simulation. Siddhartha sat completely frozen under the banyan tree. Mara opened the gates of digital hell. He launched an army of flaming arrows, terrifying demons, and absolute psychological chaos directly at Siddhartha's mind. This is the exact moment your brain enters a severe panic attack. Your chest tightens. Your breathing fragments. Your internal OS screams that you are about to drown. Siddhartha did not fight back. He did not build a firewall. He did not recite a positive affirmation to cope with the stress. Instead, he did something that completely broke the code of the simulation. He simply reached down and touched the earth. With that single physical gesture, he executed a hard reset on his entire consciousness. He did not defeat the demons. He looked directly into the eyes of the monster and whispered a terrifying truth. "I see you, Mara." The moment he acknowledged the virus without trying to delete it, the entire simulation collapsed. The flaming arrows turned into soft falling flower petals. The terrifying monsters dissolved into thin air. The war was over because the warrior finally stepped off the battlefield. I realized this is the missing piece in modern American psychology. We spend billions of dollars trying to manage our mental health, trying to optimize our trauma, and trying to fix the ghost in our machine. But you cannot fix a shadow. Siddhartha discovered that the ego is not a solid object. It is just a highly convincing piece of background spyware. When you stop feeding the algorithm with your attention, the program simply runs out of power. The ultimate threat to the system is not rebellion. The ultimate threat to the system is absolute, unbothered awareness. Here is the ultimate patch update for your consciousness. Brace yourself because this is the twist that deletes the malware completely. You are not the person meditating. You are not the person trying to fix your anxiety. The entity in your head trying so hard to achieve enlightenment is actually the final trap of the software. It is just another background app simulating spiritual progress to keep you running on the hamster wheel. The reality is beautifully simple. You do not need to delete your thoughts. You do not need to upgrade your personality. You just need to realize that the seat of the observer is entirely empty. To execute this karmic debugging sequence immediately in your daily life, apply these core protocols. Label the spyware instantly by whispering the phrase "I see you" to every rising urge, anxiety, or craving without fighting it. Run the background scan by watching your negative thoughts slide across your consciousness exactly like notifications on a locked screen. Perform a hard reset by dropping your attention entirely into your physical senses whenever the digital loop begins to suffocate your mind. Stop trying to code a perfect version of a fictional self. The simulation only holds power over you when you believe you are inside the machine. You are not the code. You are the empty space in which the code executes. Look at the screen right now. The glitch is exposed. The tracking software has lost your location. The ghost in your operating system has finally been deleted. You are completely free. If your mind is currently experiencing a total system reboot, report your operating system errors down in the comments below. Let us map out the glitching source code together. Close the background apps. Shut down the malware. Stay awake.